Hey everybody, welcome back. As you can see, I'm not in a truck. You know, over the years in life, I've always put up with disrespect, people talking down, and I always concentrated on family. Not saying that I don't concentrate on home and what needs to be done, because I've never not ever done the right things. And again, I'm not bragging on myself. I'm just saying. When you walk through life in darkness and you walk through and you prioritize things in the wrong way, yourself becomes more important. See, I guess sometimes when you go through a troubled life, you think about where you've been and what's important in life. You know, my thing is when you end up in a place and it's the same thing as what you left or even worse. But money's not everything either. But when you're making more money doing what you were doing before you went to another place and you're making less money there off of promises and stuff, what you can research, you can only research so much. There comes a time when you go, man, do I step out of the boat or do I stay in the boat? And at this point, I decided to step out of the boat. I'm just tired, and it's like, I know when you get into a place that you're tired, it can go into a dark place very quick. There's so many videos and so much stuff going on about the coming times, the new pandemic and stuff. I've also spoke on this. I have no idea what it's going to be. I just know that it's going to come to us through. They may do it through the air. They may do it through a shot. Who knows how they're going to do it? But it's coming, and it's going to be worse than the COVID ever was. I've told you guys this on previous videos. It's not up to me to convince you. It's up to you to search God for these things. But you can't go back and complain at the end and go, "Well, I didn't know." Yes, you do know. It's like there's so many people out here speaking about this. Can we all be wrong? I don't. I seriously doubt it. If we serve the God of truth and we serve a God that's going to provide for us, then what do we fear? Peter feared, and look what happened. He took his eyes off the Lord and he sunk. But did not Jesus rescue him? I've been doing a lot of thinking for the last few days, and when I finally made the decision, no. And it all started with do as you say, and I do that. And everything I say, I'm gonna follow it up. It may take me a while. I may have wrote it down, and that's why I always ask people, if I promise to do a video for you or ask you something and I'm not getting back to it real quick, if you email me, then re-email me. Send me a text message. Send a message on here. It's not that I'm not trying to do it. There is a lot going on, and I'm glad that I have these few days to just refocus on what the Lord has been giving me. And I kind of got a disturbing email that kind of bothered me a little bit. And they were like, "Well, I'm not commenting anymore because you're not commenting back. You lied to us." Um, you know, Please explain to me how I've lied. Because I look at it, and I even said, my intentions was there to reply to everybody. I didn't think in a million years that these videos and the older videos, and again, if these things pop up, new alerts, then it's on my mind. But I went back to the original hell testimony one I did, even the earlier videos. when I first was doing that trial runs and stuff like that, and people say what they want. I mean, that's your opinion. But the fact of it is, I started spending more time replying and more time focus on that than I was giving God what He wanted me to come on here to even speak. That doesn't mean that I don't want to reply. I'm still trying to get to a lot of, and I've been replying to the older videos and going back through things and emails and things like that. But for me, to hear that people really think that I'm on here lying, and first of all, it's a very fine line when you start judging people. It's a very fine line, and it saddens me. I mean, it really does, because then I start questioning, going, are you commenting because I'm mentioning you, or are you commenting because I brought I don't know. I can't fulfill anything in your lives. I can't. The only thing I can do is bring truth and bring what the Lord lays on me. It's truth to me, whether it is to you or not. You can call it lies, you can call it nonsense, you can call these whole videos crazy. That's okay. Because I got an email a while back, and she told me this, not word for word, but I'm going to give you the roundabout of it. She says, the one good thing about trucking is, the time that you have even driving down the road doing the videos. I didn't really want to do the videos as I was going down the road, but my focus on driving allowed my thoughts to just spew it out. I actually went back and started listening to some of those videos, and I'm telling you, people, a lot of that was strictly at the moment listening to the Spirit speak to me as I spoke it to you. So there's a lot of stuff I wrote down because it's an awe moment even for myself. And it happens a lot. I have been in places where people are in conversation and all of a sudden it just, right out of my mouth. And people look at me, can you repeat that? No, I can't. It's not my fault you're not paying attention. It's not my fault that you're so wrapped up in your own world, in yourself. If this 3 days of darkness is correct, and these alerts and all this stuff that we're supposed to hear, that's going to tell us to get inside. If you're so wrapped up in your world, you're going to be one of the ones that are fooled and go outside. And let me tell you, you think about the end times. You think about the events that will take place in there. If you can't make it now, you will surrender to the mark of the beast. I will put $100 bill right on the table and put it flat right out like that. Because if you're not strong enough now, you're not going to be strong enough then. I guarantee it. Because they're going to use family members against you. If, let's just say you're married and your family is agreeing with you and you're all living the same. Chances of, at a certain age, your children also have the knowledge not to follow after that, if that is your beliefs. That being said, it's like a scale. Well, let's try to balance the scale. And if you're trying to balance the scale out, it's got to maintain. It can't. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be right there in the middle. So let's just say you have two children, your husband or your wife, whoever you are watching this, and through the process of this, you're left here. Now they separate you. Well, we can't scan nothing on you, so you're going to be unclean to them. However they word it. Well, we're going to have to put you over here. FEMA camp, prison, whatever the heck you want to call it. They're going to separate you. They're going to keep you together at first. And picture a hallway, like a hospital. You know how you got a room here and a room here? Well, picture a lockdown unit like that. They're going to lock you in a room here, lock you in a room here, but you're not going to have no blinds or nothing. You're going to be able to see your family straight across from you. And men, they're going to work on you first. They're going to do stuff to your children. They're going to do stuff to your wife. And I'm talking unbelievable things and just keeping it for all ages, whoever comes across this. Unbelievable things you will watch happen. Unbelievable. I mean, things that you hear about on the news, things that you see on movies, those are the things that's going to happen right in front of your very eyes. They're going to come back with, well, all you got to do is take the mark. Well, now you just freely, willingly walked yourself right into hell. You may come against this and say, Nelson, I don't believe that. I can repent. No. No, it clearly states you will have a choice. It's not going to get easy. It's going to get harder, people. It's going to get harder. This food lockdown, they're going to do it. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming with a vengeance. It's coming the same as you see the sky starts to turning black and you know you hear the rumbling and the thunder. You may even see lightning flying. You know to take cover, right? God's giving you signs. He's giving you signs here. Not just with me. He's giving us signs. I woke up out of a vision dream, whatever you want to call it. Washington, D.C. I'm walking down the road and I've come up to the White House. And on the outside, if anybody's ever been there or you've seen pictures or videos or TV, newscast, whatever, you know the black fence goes all the way around the outside. I never really realized how big the White House property and stuff was until I was younger and actually went there. I went there in, oh my gosh, I want to say it was 5th grade or 6th grade. It wasn't 6th grade. I had to have been in 5th grade. And I went there in 8th grade. I was in North Canton Junior High at that point. And when we first went there, we were in groups and stuff, and I went with, friends of mine, and we kind of hung out and stuff, and it was, you didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to things. When I went there in 8th grade, it was like walking by it, different schools had different times that they could go through it. They give you options. You can either go through the White House, you can go through the Capitol building. I imagine you probably could go through all of it. I don't know. I just never had the desire to go into the White House. I don't know why. It's just me. A lot of people did. They were excited about it. I did get to see when Lincoln's home, when he was shot at that play, and the pillow, they still got his pillow inside of a plexiglass box. You can see the blood on the pillow and everything. And it's like, but I was walking in this dream. I was walking down along the roadway, not sidewalk next to the fence, just the roadway. The interesting thing is I seen presidents walking on the outside. Well, these presidents weren't alive. They were dead. I seen George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Kennedy, Reagan, walking on the outside. Now, as I looked up, I seen an eagle dying and falling to the ground, spread out across the sidewalk. Over that, I watched the door open, and as the door opened, I seen Jimmy Carter walking out. Jimmy Carter, which is still alive as far as I know. I know he's in hospice and stuff. I don't know. He might have passed away again. I don't watch much news, so I don't know. If so you think about it and go, actually, I retract that. That is not true. Darlene did look it up. He is still alive. That just came to me. So I do apologize for that. And praise God for giving me that knowledge to come back and recorrect that. So you think about Jimmy Carter walking out. What does that represent? You know, the eagle falling. I believe the mighty eagle represents United States. Dead. It's flipping upside down. Didn't land and die. It fell from the sky, coming down and rolled over on its back with its wings spread out. As Carter walks over, does it mean Carter's dying? Well, yes. I mean, if I came on there and said Jimmy Carter is going to die very soon, what's soon? You know, and plus he's in hospice. So yeah, eventually, I mean, it can happen today, it can happen tomorrow. Doesn't necessarily mean the prophecy is not, I'm not speaking the truth, but I'm not saying that. I don't know when Jimmy Carter is going to pass away. I'm not saying that eagle flipping upside down is representing death. I believe it's representing death of the United States because we are a prideful, sinful nation. Corrupted, beyond corrupted. Christians are falling like crazy. So today I'm going to say this. As I walk into church, my name is Pastor Nelson. As I'm walking in here, I'm going to deliver this message to you as Pastor Nelson. And I know some of you might say, what in the world, man? How many times did you say you don't believe in the pastor word or the prophecy or the you're right, I don't. But if I put pastor in front of it, is it going to make that bigger impact on you? If I put pastor in front of it, are you going to listen a lot quicker? Most of you will. You know why? Because you are the ones being led astray by pastors into the valley of the darkness. See, pastors are not doing what's right. They're leading the sheep because they're spiritually asleep, because we're allowing God to be taken out of everything. What's happening out in schools when God was taken out of it and they're hanging the gay pride flags up? Kids are getting raped. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Transgender this and taking away stuff, and a girl's getting beat up or because she swims and she came against a guy. Come on, people. And then she was 3 hours before any other officials came. You know, I'm all about supporting police officers and that kind of stuff. But let me tell you, when you become so damn fearful to do your jobs, because you're worried about you got all this body cam on. We're in a world of right is wrong and wrong is right. Please do your jobs. People support you. Every time I see an officer, I thank them for what they're doing in this terrible, terrible time. Because we want to defund the police. We want to take the police out of it. But listen, how many times when you're in need, do you call 911? What's going to happen one day when you come home and your family's being under attack and you call 911 and there ain't an officer there? You think RoboCop's so far away? No, we're putting all of our trust in this technology. Technology is going to destroy us. Think about it. This AI, remember a while back when I did the video on AI, when the Lord gave me AI before AI even became public? And I had people coming against that. What the heck is AI? What are you even talking about? The 5Gs, our phones talking. Man, I turned on this phone that I don't even know why they call it a 5G phone because it's always on 4G. Well, certain places, Nelson, you'll go into, but I'm paying for this 5G nonsense that's never on 5G. Which is ridiculous. You're charging me for something that's not true. But all of a sudden, 5G clicks on, and my TV flashes. Anybody find that very disturbing? I do. Very disturbing. You think the government's not listening to us? They're listening to us. It's nothing new. Hold on a minute. Who the heck is calling me? I don't know. But it's nothing new, people. Trust me. There is nothing new with technology. We've been looking at it for years and years and years. Problem is we just become so comfortable. Back to the dream. You think about how corrupt this is. You think about the IRS. The IRS shouldn't even exist. It shouldn't. This was man. Man put this in place. Constitution doesn't go back to it. The Bible doesn't speak of it. It just says pay your taxes. Pay to Caesar's what is Caesar's. All this other nonsense that falls into place with the IRS. And my thing is this. Now, I question the fact of all this government. They get to have free taxes, free medical, free vision, free all this nonsense that we pay for. And then they come against us if we don't have it. Well, we can't afford it. If we don't use it, then shouldn't we get a half of that payment back to us if we never use it? I don't use hospitalization. I don't trust doctors. I don't trust hospitals. You're not injecting me with anything. Am I paranoid? No, not at all. I trust in God. Whatever God's going to do, whatever's going to be in my life, it's going to be. If I walk out here today, it could be my last moment. But I don't go looking for trouble. Never have, never will. But I'm prepared for trouble. Hold on, this stand isn't so great. But, life is where we're at with it. I'm trying to remember how it goes. I don't know if it was Kennedy or Nixon. I don't know who actually said it. I used to, but I don't recall at this moment. Ask not what ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Shouldn't we use that same phrase with God and Jesus? Instead of asking them what we need today, but what can we do for you today? I think about that a lot. And I think about, I was reading this morning about the spirit of Jezebel. And I think about my life and how many times have I fallen into sin and how many times did I allow the spirit of Jezebel to pull me away because my mind wasn't right. It wasn't in the right places. I don't know what God has in store, and I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in any of that. I believe there's chances in life, and sometimes, I pray to God for everything. Don't let me do anything that is not for the purpose or plan or reason that you have. So if I pray this and something happens, I don't know how to explain it. It's like some people, it's like, if I feel it in my heart that it's wrong, then I go and repent. But if not, I have to believe God has a purpose for it. We all have a purpose, the reason why we're here. And I started questioning the YouTube and, a few people mentioned Rumble, and I was like, all right, I tried to get on Rumble and try to upload videos on there. It just keeps blocking me. I mean, I'm like, I don't know how anybody even puts anything on Rumble. And it's, so a person emailed me and said, hey, Nelson, can I ask you a question? I replied back, yes, absolutely. I said, but just remember, what I'm going to tell you is how I feel about it. May not be the truth of what you're looking for. I might not be the person you need to ask these things. Basically, I'm going to give you how I feel about it and the truth of how I look at it. Doesn't mean that it's acceptable. You may go, I'm not listening to this, or you may go, yeah, that makes sense. Either way, you have to look at life, okay? So that question is why do you want to go to Rumble? how can are you leaving us? And I was like, no, it's like I'm not leaving YouTube. YouTube, I've never had no problems with YouTube. I've never had no problems with their censorship. I mean, I did with them deleting some of the people's comments. It said edit it and all that kind of stuff. And I've even said in the videos, I know they upload these things and a robotic thing probably scans through this stuff. I'm sure it's not a person sitting there. I'm not for sure. Or is it the fact that I say pray for these presidents and pray for, these nations and stuff like that? Am I not doing all hate? I don't know. I don't know the reason why they haven't censored a lot of this stuff. Yeah, it doesn't make sense why some people's videos, they suspend them and everything else. My thing is I fell into the hate of it. The hate of the hate that keeps coming. And I mean, you just grow tired of it after a while. I mean, honestly, people. Doesn't mean that I wouldn't still upload stuff on YouTube. I actually even thought about, I've listened to people say, just turn your comments off. I don't want that. I want people to be able to talk about your life and to relate to it. I tried the Zoom stuff. I tried putting it out there. Well, I don't want to be seen. Well, if you got a picture on your comment thing, some people's got animals, some people's got pictures of themselves or whatever. Does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter? I mean, look, I'm on here doing videos. You don't think for one moment I talk about transgenders, I talk about Middle Eastern states, I talk about United States. You don't think for one moment that I don't think I'm going to walk out that door and somebody's going to be pissed off at me and just shoot me? It can happen. Hatred, people. The devil is full of hatred, and the devil is trying everything. And he's going to. When he starts, his son, see, the stage is set for his son. But he's trying to fast forward us so fast. Listen to this now. He's trying to fast forward us so fast that he can take place. When he takes place, it's no holds barred. If you think the devil is not in control of this earth, it even says so in the Bible. Go in there and read it. Google it. Google, where does God say that this world, earth, is Saint Lucifer, whatever you want to call him. You think about this. You think about they tried to poison people with the COVID. They're going to do this lockdown to show how long are we going to stay inside before we crack and come outside. But I also know God's going to give a warning and tell us how many days that he expects us to be inside. For whatever reason. Is he going to send angels and stuff in here to minister to us? Is he going to send Jesus going to appear into here to minister to us? Are we? I believe it's going to be a heavenly experience, and I believe we're going to lose power. I truly do. I truly believe that we're going to lose all phones because TVs, everything, because they don't want communication. They don't want people to know what's going on over there in China. They don't, and in a good way, God says, I'm going to do this for our own behalf. Well, think about it. It's not such a bad thing. But the only problem is, now you're looking at the youth. And not even so much the youth anymore. It's older people. It's us. Bam, you wake up. Well, it's my phone case. It won't fit into this holder. You wake up and all of a sudden you're popping out the little back and you got it all. I mean, they even make devices now so we can hold it and, it's glued to us. I'm seriously, look. And you think about it, I'm barely even holding this thing. You can see it moving. It's crazy. But we wake up with this thing glued to us. Earbuds in our ears now. I mean, the earbuds never leave. People are in jobs now talking to people. When did we allow this stuff? But then you get frustrated. I mean, how many of you truthfully, raise your hand. And I'm raising my hand. I know you, I'm going to put it like this. I'm raising my hand because it happens with me. Truly, it does. I get so frustrated when I got to wait in line or wait for a teller or go walk around somewhere and you're pushing the button for help and you stopping another employee. Can you please send somebody over here? Yep. And you go back there and you stand for another 10, 15 minutes. Now I'm getting to the point I'm going, you got to be kidding me, right? So then I'm running around the stores looking, and at the same time, I'm like, God, please give me patience. God, please give me patience. Please, 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 please don't let me do something stupid, because I want to represent you at all times. I want to represent your son at all times of my life. But I'm human, so help me here. And I stumble across the same person. I've been standing back. I come to you, and I've been standing back here after you said you were getting somebody. I'm working on it. Okay. What's your name? And can you please call a manager right to this spot where we are? Well, yeah. Another person. Excuse me. Yes. Can you call a manager right here to where we are? No matter where this person goes, I'm going to follow them. And I want you to stay on the radio and follow us if this person starts to leave. Now all of a sudden they got a different tune. Manager comes back. Can I help you? I said, yes. I asked this person to get me help because they said they don't work this department, but clearly they are working this department because they're stocking stuff. The very things that I'm trying to find out here. Did you tell this person? Yeah, really? We could play the song and dance all day long. You're hired to do a job. Don't take a job and then complain about it. Don't want God to use you and then complain about the work you got to do. Don't be fearful. Don't let the world's ways distract you. That's the biggest part of it. You go back to that vision that I was telling you about with that eagle flipping upside down and the dead presidents walking around the outside. But what do they have in common? God. Well, when this Black Lives Matter thing went through and Soros was, I think that's who it is, I don't know, whatever his name is paying people, bus loading them in, truck loading them in, just like the riot thing that happened in the Capitol building, a building of all buildings that we were never supposed to be able to get into with guns and all this kind of stuff. People, come on. There's security people in there with guns and everything else, and they want to blame Trump for this. Isn't it funny how everything they blame Trump for, they're getting caught up in themselves? Did they take the files out of the White House and take it to a garage that is temperature controlled because he parks his Corvette in there? And try to blame it on Trump? Isn't it funny now how they're saying they're coming against Joe Biden for running for president again? And they're the ones that made him look like a class clown. Or is it just someone in a mask? It's Hollywood, people. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's right. You don't know what's wrong. But if you're going to believe the world's ways, then you got to expect the world's things to happen to you. Jesus didn't come to earth to be served. He come to serve. Jesus took on all sin. It took every blow, every word, everything to himself. He took it. It didn't have to. Think about what he said to Pontius Pilate. When Pontius Pilate said, "Are you a king?" He says, What do you say I am? What do they say? And he says, if this was my kingdom, then my people would come to rescue me. Because he knew. He knew what we would do. Because a title, if that title is leading you to darkness, I recommend you wake up. Because these pastors, a lot of these pastors are in sin themselves. That's why God's removing them. They would have listened to the messengers when they came to tell them things. They would have took heed to the warning. But they were like the Pharisees. How dare you come and tell me? I'm a pastor of this church. I'm protecting my flock. And I told one pastor, from me or you? Are you afraid of what I'm going to go in there and say? Well, you don't even come to this church anymore. I don't come to this church anymore because I don't believe you. It doesn't match the Bible. Because you know why? Because we're so busy getting scriptures and teachings already done up and sent to you. And you don't have to go into the Word anymore. You just read and put your own little twist on them and you present it. The same as what I'm doing here. The only difference is I pray, I read. I'm not saying a pastor doesn't do that. I'm not saying that at all. But when you go up to a pastor and you start speaking stuff to him and they, well, I don't know. A good friend, wasn't really a good friend, but I considered him a good friend. And he believed everything I was telling him. And then when I asked to come speak at his church, let me pray on it. Let me pray. And I asked again, let me pray on it. And then I sent a message to him. Then I sent another message to him, what God told me to tell him. You know, so many times have I sat back and I watched their empire. You know, you go in there, and he was. You know, I considered him a person that, you know, when the Lord spoke to me and told me to tell him that greatness is coming, you are going to move into this leader position. And sure enough, as soon as I heard it that he was becoming a lead pastor at a different church, you know, I couldn't wait to get back there to actually talk to him. And the very interesting part is, but today he doesn't believe me. You believed me then, but you don't believe me now. So which tells me that you're so focused on yourself. Unbelievable. I mean, seriously, unbelievable. You believe it 1 minute, but then when you take a lead pastor's role, now all of a sudden, I'm all-knowing God. Don't pay attention to the guy behind the curtain. He's nothing. Wizard of Oz. You become God yourself. When you become God yourself and you sit on an imaginary throne, be careful because the devil does the same thing. It's time to wake up, pastors. It truly is. It's time to wake up. It's time to stand back up to the fire that God called you into. Remember all the fallen kings, King Saul. You remember David, what he did in sin, but God still considered him a man of his own heart, after his own heart, or however it's worded. You know, each one of us, you know, our thoughts, our actions, what we do, you know, repentance. The idea is go and don't sin again, because worse may fall upon you. How many times must I forgive somebody? As many times they ask. How many times do we go to God and expect him to forgive us? As many times as we ask. If it's okay for me to go to God and ask God, please, I sinned again. It's the same sin. I know what you told me. And I didn't understand at first why you said it'll come back worse. Because it does. Because the longer you walk with Christ, the more now when I do something stupid, I see him on that crucifixion. You know, I see him getting beaten. And I see his blood being shed. And as I stood there that day with him, watching him jerk or moan or tense up. And he did it for our sins. I don't know, people. I know one day the darkness is going to fall upon us. And we're going to need each other. And I kept asking people, hey, you know, so many people are alone. So many people feel like they're abandoned and they have, you know, they're scared. I feel for you. You know, there's no need, you know, and I can understand some of you may feel like, well, I don't want to be like, I think they're looking at me like now as a charity thing or something. Don't let the devil detour you. Because let me tell you, I don't know. I do believe in the rapture, and I do believe in the second coming. Now, I believe these are two separate times. I believe the rapture is when he's going to lift the people up, and I believe he's going to leave certain people here that we will be protected under him. God himself, not the Lord, because the Lord is going to be with the people that God calls upwards. But I believe he's going to show us favor. I believe he's going to show us a way to get through things where we're not going to be seen. And he's going to lead us into the right places. And he's going to let us lead people that are there but weren't there. And you're going to have an opportunity to finally, but you're going to go through the worst of the worst. We're already going through it, people. Truthfully, we are truly going through it. And see, I can tighten it up at the base, but I can't. This thing's on a wiry. Anyways, so you're just gonna have to go with the flow with me on this thing falling down and doing what it's doing. Now I can understand what Darlene was talking about that day when she's like, it just kept moving. I was like, it shouldn't, but it is. I don't know. China, you made good device, China. Good work, China. China owns us. Sad how much money that we printed in the last 2.5 years. Where's this money coming from, people? We don't even have enough gold to back this stuff up. I don't know, it's crazy. I mean, there's so many thoughts, so many things that go through all this. You know, you just sit here and you think about life and you think about where are we at? You know, like what are we truly doing? You know, I look around and I think about the opportunity I have right now. I'm not naive of it, but I do think about the time I have right now. I have a time to upload a lot of my videos and stuff and things that I've written down. And, you know, on the one video I just commented, you know, give me your guys' thoughts on the tablets and stuff. And you know what's amazing to me? I mean, I'm kind of set back on this a little bit. You know, a lot of the stuff was through prayer. And that one person commented. And that totally blew my mind. Not one person. Not one. And I started thinking, if it was me, what would my thoughts be? I'm curious. I'm always curious to see what people have to say. And that's why I like the comments, even though I didn't get a chance to reply to a lot of them or do whatever, but I like people's view on things because that's how we grow. That's how we look at it. And that's how we can go, I kind of, but not. I mean, how did you get to where you're at? Please explain this more. Or if someone else is in there and stuff like, you know, it doesn't mean I didn't read them. But you look at it and you go, wow, that's interesting. I want to know more about this. You know, I talk to people through the email, through Messenger, a couple people on the phone, and one person just kind of, we just got in the wrong place and, you know, contact me on this and this and that. And I'm like, no, because I felt like you deceived me from the beginning. And God's ministry is God's ministry, no matter who's speaking it. There's some things that I'm working on, and hopefully, I went to talk to a person yesterday, and if this works out, which I believe it is, I believe God showed all the signs for it, and we declared it, we prayed about it, and it's going to free up a lot of time, and it's going to free up other times that I'm working on this other business deal, and that's also going to free up time, and hopefully when this thing, if it's God's plan for me, then it'll take off, and it's really going to be able to, once it takes place, allow me to really truly dig deeper into this. However much time we have here, I don't know. I really don't know how much more time we have. But I can say with the signs and the events and everything's happening, people, it is coming with a vengeance. You know, the weird thing is, I had a dream last night, and it had to do with Darlene's two daughters. Well, the youngest daughter is the one that really spoke a lot of non-truthful things, and I'm not even going to go down that one, but I'm telling you, it was like someone jabbing a knife into your heart and just ripping your heart through a little tiny straw hole, knife hole. Just reaching your hand in there and just ripping it out. There's so much truth. But like the Lord said, why are you trying to explain truth to a devil? And that's why I always say I won't fight a devil with a devil. Family members come against it. You know, so many people want to jump on a bandwagon. But you will answer. But anyways, they're in the house that I was in, that satanic house. And we took the one daughter by and actually showed her. And man, I'm like, if for some reason it was almost like, the only way she was begging for help for me to come get her out of there. And I said, first of all, how the heck did you even get there? Why are you even there? Well, we took the board off the side and just placed it up against it. Well, now we were in a lockdown situation. Well, for our protection inside. So I'm thinking in my head, how is your phone working? Because nobody else's phone's working. How are you Skyping me at this point and I'm able to receive it? Now think about this. And I'm thinking so I end up going over there. I said, well, where are you? Well, my car's parked outside. I said, oh, is it? Which door did you go in? So I'm waiting to see a piece of plywood laid up against it. And the whole time is all of a sudden I recognize somebody that I grew up with the time I was there in there. And I recognized him. I heard his voice and I recognized him. He got on the screen. And I said, man, you haven't aged a bit. Come on, Nelson. You know we don't age. True. Very true. It's like almost like saying you're going to take Donald Sutherland and put him back into the Lost Boys role and he's going to look that young again. Hollywood can do amazing things, though. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you look at the Star Wars episodes that are going on, the Mandalorian, or however you pronounce that, basically Boba Fett, how Boba Fett becomes Boba Fett because it gets casted out. Well, we get exiled out too. I've been exiled out of so many things that I really don't even want to talk to. I'd rather do videos anymore than really actually talk to people anymore. And it's but it's not fair. I mean, it's not fair to the people or anybody else. But, what is fair? What is not fair? But anyways, you look at it, and I believe his last name is Hamill too. So I think he must be a relation to Mark Hamill that played the original Luke Skywalker. And at first I thought it was like a hologram, like they were putting, like, you know how Hollywood does. And then today when I was looking at Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker with the beard, the Obi-Wan type thing, because obviously Luke went into the Obi-Wan teaching, And I seen the person next to him, and I was like, oh my gosh, when you finally realize it's not actually, because I thought they took Luke Skywalker like from the Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back type thing. Not so much Star Wars because it was a little bit younger, but when you take the Empire, even in the Return of the Jedi, more of the Return of the Jedi look. And I'm thinking, how in the world, and it's like, it doesn't surprise me if they don't take things and edit it into the movies and stuff like that. It's possible. Anything's possible. Then they just make it move and do whatever they want. It's, the green screen, the blue screen, all that kind of screens. But when I looked at it, I'm going, no, that's not even him. And then when I looked at the name, I was like, well, it's Hamill. No wonder why he looks so, familiar. Because obviously he favors. Could be his dad for all I know. I don't know. I didn't look it up, but I was just like dumbfounded by it, going, wow. Now the fans are wanting him to replace the original Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker. Well, first of all, I was very disappointed in The Last Jedi and how Disney done that. I mean, I'm going somewhere with this, so just walk with me. It's that desert walk. Some people say, hey, I'll go through the desert with you. Well, this is the desert walk here. I don't think they did the character right. I don't think they allowed Mark Hamill to portray the Luke Skywalker role as it should be. I think Disney really messed up. And I think Disney's still messing it up. But, he's the new Jedi Master. He's got to train the Jedis. Well, you got young Yoda now coming into place. Problem is, we're all over the place. See, we got Yoda now being born, and the young Yoda that's going to grow into the Yoda that we've seen in The Empire Strikes Back. But here's the problem. You're going to have to somehow take this young Luke and this old Luke and balance that out, because Yoda should never come back into the place. It's like going through movies and you go, now all of a sudden let's go back to the very beginning of how it all started. Well, you're not even doing that, because we're doing the same thing in life. We're taking Jesus and putting Jesus where we want Jesus, see, in our lives. It's okay to put Jesus as a young Jesus over here, but not Jesus how he is today. It's okay to use Jesus when we need Jesus as a child, when it speaks about him going, why are you so upset? You should have known I was about doing my Father's work. At 12 years old. And they were listening to him. They were listening to him and asking, what teacher does he have to give him this? Amazed by it. Where are we at with it? Which part of Jesus are you looking at? The young Jesus? The middle Jesus? The crucifixion Jesus? Are you making your own story with Jesus? Are you using the religion that religion can't save you? I'm sorry, it can't. That statue of Mary can't save you. That statue of Buddha that you go in there and rub the belly or the head and all this nonsense that goes with it. It can't, it will not, and it will not. It's not going to. Native Americans, I'm here to tell you right here. Your many gods, not going to do it. The rain god isn't going to do it. You may chant to it. You may go out there and you may pray and it may rain. But you're tapping into a spiritual realm. India, oh my goodness. My mind blows. I mean, I literally did not understand how many gods you pray to. I mean, seriously, I have no clue. And I had no clue until I actually looked into it, and I was like, they're telling me the truth. This is insane. I talked to a guy not too long ago, and I heard Darlene even speak when she used to do the medical transcripting and all that kind of stuff. And they were talking about their gods and all this stuff like this. I'm like, "God, there's no way this is accurate." I talked to a guy, and I said, he's seen my cross, and he goes, "Oh, you believe in Jesus?" And he says, "I do too." And I said, "Well, why do you say I believe in Jesus?" He said, "You wear a cross." And I said, "Just because I wear a cross, does it mean I believe in Jesus?" He says, "True. I appreciate that." I was like, "What?" I was like, "You appreciate what?" The fact that I wear the cross? I mean, what are we talking about? He goes, "No, the truth that you give on that, because that is very truthful. Just because you wear a cross, just because somebody has a cross on, doesn't mean they're wearing it for the right reasons. It doesn't." So I asked him. I said, "Well, since we're talking, can you explain your religion?" He says, "I pray to one God now, not many gods. And I was exiled out of my family for this." I said, "What do you mean exiled out of your family?" He goes, "They disowned me. They told me I had to leave and put me out of the house." Put you out of the house. Yes. Yes. Just like you see in some movies. It's true. That's what happens. Because I believe in one God, in one Savior. I believe he was flesh. Unbelievable. Now you think about this. You think about the faith of this person, the courage of this person. Would you have that much faith and courage to be placed out of your household? I can honestly say today it wouldn't faze me one bit, because it's happened too many times to me. My father did it. My mother did it. My father did it to me again. My children has done it. People have done it. People have turned their backs on me. People I knew, not family. It's just people I knew have turned their backs on me. And honestly, I look at it, and is why I say what I say. When you have someone that stands by you no matter what, that's respect, people. And that's loyalty. That is something I never had in my life, ever. Ever. Someone that actually believed in me and not what the world was saying. But yet, many of these people grew up years around me. And that's the sad part. When we cast stones, we have no idea. But then we claim to be Christians. We claim to be under God. But yet we're so judgmental. What are you going to do when you're locked in? What are you going to do when you're shut down? What are you going to do when these things happen? I got to take this real quick, and I'll come back and do a part 2 on this.